Hi everyone.
My name is David.
And I'm Tiffany, and welcome to Overlanding World. So behind us here is our 2003 Landrover Discovery 2. This channel is going to be dedicated to our adventures, camping trips, and anywhere we decide to take our rig here. We also have a lot of modifications coming up on this channel, so stay tuned. So we got this Land Rover here for only $1,500, so it was a pretty good find. We actually ended up purchasing it from kind of like a friend of a friend, family friend, and they were actually trying to get rid of the car. They just had no use for it, weren't driving it anymore, and they were actually going to send it to, drop it off at the junkyard, which is very sad because it was going to become a little cube. But so we decided to, we had the money, so we're like, let's split it, let's buy it, and our original plan was to just, fix it. So when we got it, it had a cracked bumper. It just had like the hood, the paint on the hood was a little like peeling. It was pretty bad. So we decided like, oh, let's just fix up those little things, and then we're gonna try to sell it for more. So once we actually got the car, we were driving it around for the first few days. We kind of like it. It was a little quirky. We had like a little bit of mechanical issues, locking the door, trying to get the key to work. But after we figured all that out, we actually started to like the car. Within like the first week, we had it out in Hungry Valley, which is like Gorman in California. And we're going up the hills, nothing too crazy, but going up the hills, and we figured that it's doing pretty good. And so we're like, maybe we can keep the car, and maybe we can, make it more of like an off-roading car, just kind of like a weekend car for us. Never planned on taking it in this like overlanding direction, but watching other YouTube videos and getting into it more, we decided that it could be really fun for both of us, kind of give us an escape from life. So yeah, this is what we have right now, and we have a lot more coming.
For those of you that know about the Discovery 2s, you guys know how unreliable the 4.6 liter Rover engine is. They're known for going through head gaskets often, at least 2 in their lifetime. So the previous owner of this car had replaced the head gasket, so it was something that made us a lot worryless and made the purchase of the car a lot more worry-free. So under the hood, we have a 4.6 liter engine, also known as the Rover V8. The engine produces 220 horsepower and about 280 pound-feet of torque. It's an okay engine. It does well in the car. It is a little bit underpowered once you start putting bigger tires and like adding a lot more weight in the car with the bumper and other things. In the future, we are thinking of doing an LS swap just to make the car a little bit even more reliable, especially for overlanding. But for now, the engine is okay. So to make the engine like more reliable and make sure that we don't blow a head gasket on the trails, we installed a 180-degree thermostat, which made the engine run a lot cooler. And another thing that the Discoveries are known for is their front drive shafts. So the drive shaft is right next to the exhaust, the catalytic converter, so it gets very hot as you're driving it. And they're known for like the U-joints breaking and snapping and taking out the transmission. So to make sure that doesn't happen ever, we replaced it with a greasable one. And once every oil change, we grease the front drive shaft. So when we first got the car, the front bumper on our car was totally just like messed up. The plastics were falling off and it was cracked all over the place. And that's very common on the Discoveries. So when we're thinking of flipping it, we're gonna get a replacement factory bumper. But after we decided to keep the car, we're deciding between what bumpers to go with. There's mainly like 2-3 options for the Discoveries. There's the thin square ones that run across the front, or there's the ARB bumpers, which is about like $1,500-$1,600. And after looking around on eBay and other places, we found this company in Florida. They're called Goliath Off-Road, and they make these great bumpers for the Discoveries. It's pretty affordable, around $650 shipped. So we decided to go with this one. It was especially perfect because it had a nice little tucked in area for a winch. And right now we're running the Smeeterbilt XRC8. It's an 8,000 pound winch, and it does pretty good for the car. So for those of you that have like a cracked bumper and are thinking of getting a replacement, I highly recommend to get an aftermarket bumper, especially the one from Goliath, because not only is it better for a winch, but it also allows you to run a bigger tires, so the factory bumper doesn't allow you to run anything. Only allows you to run maximum, I think, 32 inches, because then it just starts rubbing. So since we got the car for so cheap at like $1,500, it didn't really make sense to spend another $1,000 on a lift. So instead, after looking around, we found a 2.5-inch OME lift kit from somebody like locally that he was selling. So we got those, and that has allowed us to run 33-inch tires without any issues under like even full articulation. The lift was also heavy duty, so for overlanding, when you're putting a lot of stuff in the trunk, it makes the ride a lot softer and the car doesn't squat in the back compared to like how it would before. The tires are the BF Goodrich KO2s all-terrains, and the metric size is 275/70 18s on the 18-inch factory rim. In the future, we are thinking of going to 35s on a 16-inch steel rim, but that's coming up in the future. In the front end, we also have a sway bar disconnect, and in the back, we just completely disconnected the rear sway bar. The rear sway bar is actually so thin that like when we disconnected it, we couldn't tell it if it was on or off. So it honestly makes no difference.
So in the back here, we really haven't made too many modifications. Some small things are adding the ladder, adding these taillight covers, and then the main thing is, of course, getting the spare tire. So the tire carrier on here, we actually had to like flip it upside down and then just rebolt it in order for the tire to fit and clear the bumper here. So actually our bumper is looking pretty sad. So it's been cracked like this for about a month. This actually happened in Cleghorn, which, if you guys don't know, it's actually just like a fire road here in California. We were going up the hill, and just one of those dips, it just went like pretty low in the back and just totally wiped it out. So we're actually looking to get a steel bumper, but again, those run pretty expensive. So for now, this is what we have, but hopefully soon we'll be able to find one that's, you know, reasonably priced and will go good with the car. Our tent here is this Mini-Built Generation 2. This is the one that folds out over the car, so it's pretty spacious for both of us. It sits on these racks. These are the Thule racks, Thule racks. So it just bolts on there nicely, and these go in the gutter of the car here. We actually put on these locking knobs, so it has a key just so no one can like steal it and just like roll it right off the top of the car. So we really haven't had any problems with that, but you know, just as a precaution. But overall, the tent is pretty good. At the top, we actually put this tie down on there just because when we're on the freeway, like even going like over 30-40 miles an hour, it does like really balloon up and like catch a lot of air. So I don't know, it helps maybe a little bit, but we just put that on there just as an added little precaution. The tent actually takes about, you know, like 10 minutes to put up, depending if you're doing it by yourself or with someone. The only difficult part is, you know, getting yourself up there to reach it and not feeling like you're gonna fall off the top of the car. Since the car is pretty high, plus the added tent, it is a little difficult to get up there and zip it up. So we usually end up just climbing on top of the roof and sitting on top of the tent in order to zip it up. But overall, the tent's pretty good. It's been pretty fun, you know, to just go park and have a place to sleep. So on the inside, we really didn't do too much. The main thing that we did do is replace the headliner. So when we did purchase the car, the headliner was sagging really bad and was actually being held up by a lot of push pins everywhere. The headliner was like the same tan color as the plastics, but since we had to change it, we decided to like make it a little more custom to us. And so we made it black. So we actually got this fabric from Joann's. So if you guys don't know, that's just like a crafts like fabric store. So this fabric is actually just a like fleece blanket. You can literally make a blanket out of this. So we decided it worked like pretty well, and we just cut it, had it like cut to the perfect size. And so we took the whole headliner out, you know, used that spray, I think by the brand 3M. And so, you know, spray that, glue it down. The most difficult part was definitely like making all the holes where each screw had to go back in, and we actually did forget a few, so that made it a little more difficult when we were trying to bolt in like all the plastics again. But overall, like it was just like a day project. It wasn't too bad. The next modification we have is we changed out the stereo system. So the stereo system had a cassette tape, which is a bit outdated, but so we decided to get this cheap one. It's literally like 20 bucks, but it has a Bluetooth, it has radio. We just, you know, rewired it, so it works well for us. Just trying to keep it simple in here. You know, it's good for road trips, but for the most part, that's all we've done. We don't really have too much else to do in the interior. Sometimes we take out the back seats just to make more space when we're going on like longer trips, just so we could pack more in the car. But overall, the interior is pretty clean. A few rips in the seats, but nothing to the point where it needs to be replaced right now.
Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. There's a lot more content coming regarding the car and overlanding in general, so stay tuned for that.
Also, if you ever want to go off-roading with us, hit us down in the comments below, or you can check us out on Instagram at overlanding_world. We do live in California in the LA area, so hit us up and stay tuned for a lot more content coming. Woohoo!